What a day today is. As you guys can see by the title, we're live and it's day 8. Holy crap, it's day 8.
It's pretty crazy, man.
I mean, he already talked. So, today, joining me for the first ever time is my cousin Dilly Boy, the Pickle.
What is up, everybody?
His first time joining us is today. We got a lot to talk about. I know we missed last Wednesday. So I mean, honestly,
unfortunately, I opened up the video and then fell asleep.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into it right away. So we'll get right into it. We'll go right away. So first things first, I want to talk some things with the NHL and the NFL. Number one, Derek Carr. What the fuck? He retired.
Oh, really?
Derek Carr has officially announced his retirement from professional football.
I was not expecting that. Holy shit.
Yeah, Derek Carr has officially announced that he will retire from professional football. What the fuck? Yeah, Raiders Saints quarterback is officially played his last season last year. I guess he didn't have the season he wanted, and he decided to end it. Sad for us, right? Derek Carr, I thought he was an okay quarterback with the Raiders and with the Saints, but I mean, he's also getting up there in age. Actually, I want to look this up because I actually don't know. How old is Derek Carr?
I don't know if you've already covered this, but so I'm a little late to the party. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers potentially?
We'll talk about that. According to this, Derek Carr was born in 91. That would make it, how old is he? Fresno, California.
If he was born in 91, that?
He's, I think he's, I'm doing the math, he's, let's see, look. He is 34, yeah, no. I mean, Brady was almost 40 before he retired, and Rodgers is getting up there in age. Just to compare, Aaron Rodgers is like 38.
He's pushing 40. He's like 45.
41. He's 41 years old. So
I don't believe the fact that my dad and Aaron Rodgers are the same age.
That's even crazier to think. And Derek Carr, you will be missed. At least by Steelers and Raiders fans, or at least by Saints and Raiders fans. Now, Dill brought up this Rodgers to the Steelers. Is that what's going on now?
It's official.
It's not official. As far as I see,
it's not official, but it could happen. There's been clips going. I don't know if you've seen any of the clips on social media, but there was clips of him throwing to their wide receiver. I think, like Deshaun Watson or something like that.
Yeah, I think he played in Green Bay or something. But the report suggests that the Steelers are feeling optimistic about contract talks with him, indicating a potential signing is imminent. So Aaron Rodgers could go to the Pittsburgh Steelers? What?
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I grew up watching Aaron Rodgers on the Packers. He's one of my favorite Packers players, and I was a little broken.
Always one of my favorites too. I'll feel you there. I felt so betrayed when he got traded over to the Jets.
Yeah, that was a very sad moment for all of us. But I mean, now he's going.
But then But then Jordan Love kicked ass his first season.
Right, and, he got injured in one of the final games of the season, too.
I was so mad, bro. Like, don't get me wrong. The kid's good. Don't get me wrong. But, holy shit.
Yeah. So that's just even making it kind of worse. We'll switch over to the NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights have lost Brayden McNabb due to injury.
You lost Brayden?
The Golden Knights have potentially lost Brayden McNabb due to injury during a game in Edmonton or in Vegas. I believe it was game 2. And Nick Waugh was fined in the same game for an incident in the same game. Oh
shit.
Yeah. So as far as I'm seeing.
Nice.
You know the story of John Ferry in prison, right?
Yeah.
So Nick Waugh was fined for cross-checking Trent Frederic during the Edmonton Oilers game 2 in Vegas. Trent was a little bit of a baby about it, I'll be honest.
What can you expect?
Right. So here's what I'm seeing on this is Nick Waugh fined for cross-checking Trent Frederic. Frederic was bleeding a little bit, but he was also whining a lot, and he would have made the Bitch of the Week segment, except we don't have Bob. I mean...
when isn't he whining?
So he was originally given a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for cross-checking. And as I'm looking at this, because I'm looking at this right now, and they're both cross-checking each other. I mean, it's simple. It's clear as day. They're both cross-checking each other. And I'm going to be honest with Trent Frederic, he's digging around in McNabb's, balls with his stick. I mean, can I really blame McNabb for cross-checking him? No. But was it high? Yes. Could he have went a little lower and went shoulder contact? Probably. Right. But is, Trent Frederic also a little whiny bitch? Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen it before with the same guy. With Trent Frederic in a different game. This does kind of look intentional, which is I think what they were looking at with an intent to injure. But at the same time, there's multiple penalties being committed on this play, and the only one ever being called is the one that, Nick Waugh happens to commit. And you know what? when I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing this because I saw it for the first time when it happened, and there's people that are getting tied up and moved around, and it's not looking good. And Nick Waugh commits one cross check, and it's we're gonna find him. But there's been far worse hits, and in that game, Brayden McNabb gets sent head first into the ice or into the wall, tripped up, and the Edmonton Oilers win it in fucking overtime. Like, what the hell?
What?
Like, we're talking that a tripping penalty, uncalled, led to a opposing goal and an injury. But we're going to call it on Brayden McNabb.
That makes no sense. What the fuck?
Right, we're going to call it on Brayden McNabb because, it's what we got to do. But yet we can't call something on... it might have been Draisaitl, it could have been McDavid, but or whoever it was that scored. It might have been Hyman or Bouchard, but whoever it was, they didn't get shit. And it screwed us. And now Vegas is down 3-1 in the series.
You're kidding me.
Vegas is down 3-1 in the series. They won off of Riley Smith's buzzer-beating goal. And you know what? We're gonna talk a little bit about round one games, and we'll get into round one games because I want to talk about Vegas winning versus Minnesota because it's important. And here's why. Marc-Andre Fleury. Right, Marc-Andre Fleury, his final game against Vegas came in the playoffs where they get eliminated in a tight series, in a 4-2 series. It started looking like Minnesota was going to come back, right? Vegas wins, 4-2. Minnesota comes back 5-2 and 5-2 again in game 3, right? And Minnesota gets their hopes up, right? And then Vegas comes back and for 3 games straight puts the pressure on Minnesota and is able to eliminate him with a 4-3 win in game 4, a 3-2 win in game 5, and a 3-2 win in game 6. And, Shea Theodore gets his second. Jack Eichel finally gets in on the scoring. I've been waiting for so long for Jack Eichel to finally get in. He gets in on the scoring in game 6. He puts Vegas up 2-1. Mark Stone comes back, makes it 3-1 in the third period after, doing Mark Stone things by batting it in. And, Ryan Hartman with the 3-2 with the wraparound, which was totally bullcrap, and, when we're looking at this and as I took a look at this, I was watching this game and, there's some minor interference in the net. There's, a couple of penalties that are committed in the neutral zone that aren't called. There's, some other things, but, Vegas wins it. And then they go in and then they get seeded, the way the seeding worked this year, Western Conference 1 is facing the, third place in the division, the Edmonton Oilers. And Edmonton won in 6 games, 4-2 over the LA Kings. And it was just something that just weirdly happened. Carolina, New Jersey, I want to talk about them. Their game 6 looked really, really nice. Carolina beat them 4-1, or game 5, I believe, right? Is this game 5 or game 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, game 5. 5 games. 5 games. Carolina dropped game 3, 3-2 in overtime. Not bad. And on April 29th, Carolina wins it in overtime. And I believe I was watching this game. I had to have been, or whatever happened here. But the 5-4 win.
I know you've watched all the Vegas games so far this year.
Double overtime. And it was Sebastian Aho. Now, I got to say this, right? Mercer, Meyer, and Nason scored in the first period. Right, and it sucks because Pyotr Kuchekov was in net, and Stefan Nason knows how to shoot on PK. They played together in Chicago. They played together on the Canes before Nason eventually went back to New Jersey, where he had previously played before. And it was nothing but Canes in the second period, except for Nico Hischier. Hall, Blake, Svechnikov, and Aho. 4 Carolina goals, and they tie it up in the second, and it goes nothing for the third, and then Aho, for his third for a hat trick and his third of the year. Or no, hold up. He had 2 in this game. That's right, he had 2. So his third of the playoffs, and he ends it in 4 minutes and 17 seconds in overtime. And you know what? New Jersey had a good run. They played tough. They gave Carolina competitive games. There were maybe 3 blowout wins.
I'm a Vegas fan, but I can appreciate a good team, and New Jersey put up a damn good fight.
Right, and New Jersey, they came back in game 3, won it in overtime. But, the Canes blew them out 3 times. Game 1, game 2, and game 4. They won game 1 4-1. They won game 2 3-1. They come back game 4 5-2 and 5-4 in overtime in game 5. It happened so quick for them, and it was almost kind of funny watching, because I'm sitting here and I'm watching this Canes game, and I can't remember which one it was that I was watching, but I'm watching the Canes game and I'm sitting here thinking, the Canes are looking good and they're going to be a contender. They are. And, if Vegas gets their act together, they'll also be a contender.
Really?
Well, and this is the same thing every year with the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights are Stanley Cup contenders, and they've proven it. They have. They've proven it year in and year out that they are Stanley Cup contenders, and it proves it. They've made the playoffs all but 1 year in their 8-9 years of existence.
Yeah, and it's just incredible. Like, I haven't seen anything like it. They had one of the biggest comeback stories, because the season before they got that Stanley Cup, they were doing too high.
Right. In 2023, Vegas wins their first cup in 6. In year 7, they get eliminated by the Dallas Stars, and it sucked. I sat there and I'm like, okay, this is a team we beat on our way to a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And it sucked, yes, because Vegas gave up the loss to a team that they know they beat in the conference finals. Right. A tough Dallas team, because Dallas is a tough team to play. And it shows right now, because if I go and look at this Winnipeg-Dallas series, Dallas is up 3-1 on Winnipeg. And they are more than likely on their way to the Western Conference Final 3 years in a row.
100%.
Unless Winnipeg gets their shit together and reverse sweeps the Dallas Stars. They play tomorrow. Vegas, however, plays tonight in Game 5 against the Edmonton Oilers in Vegas. So, as far as I know, it's in Vegas. Hold up, I'm checking. Game 5 tonight in Vegas at 8:30 Central, 7:30 or 9:30 Eastern. I believe 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Game 6 is still TBD. That all depends on what happens tonight. Does Vegas win or does Edmonton win? It all depends. Carolina, they play tomorrow. We'll see the Carolina Hurricanes take on the Washington Capitals tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central. We'll go down the line here. Winnipeg Dallas also plays tomorrow. They will be at 8:30 p.m. Central. And if you're looking to see the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers, their game is currently going on right now. Florida's leading 1-0 with 4:42 remaining in the first period. 13 shots on goal for the Florida Panthers in the first period. And Aaron Ekblad with his second of the playoffs. 13 shots to 4. Toronto is really, they got to pick up their stuff. This is a tied series right now. Toronto with 2, Florida with 2. This one's a make or break right here, right? You've got this really, really good Florida team, and you've got this somewhat good Toronto team that's been able to put pressure and that beat out the back-to-back times of being called first-round exits. I believe we said, Toronto would exit in the first round. I was, it was kind of weird, coming in and watching, the Toronto Maple Leafs actually win the first round. I think
I was not expecting that.
No, and I think, a 4-2 series with Ottawa when Ottawa was trying so desperately to make a comeback. you know, we have a division first and a wild card team. It's weird. And the NHL seeding this year was really weird. You had a wild card 2 facing off a division first, or a first ranked team in the division, right? You had a Division 2 and a Division 3 team facing off, and you had a Division 1 team and a wild card 1 team facing off. And then you had, a Division 2 and a Division 3 team facing off. Like, it's weird. And now you've got a Division 1 and a Division 2 team facing each other. Division 1, Division 3 facing each other. Division 1, Division 2. And
overall, it makes no sense. It's just confusing.
Right, and it's D1 and D3 in Florida, Toronto. There's some weird seating here in the NHL, and I'll be honest, there's some really weird seating. I cannot, tell you guys enough. The seating for this year's playoffs is weird, and somehow the Winnipeg Jets made round 2. And I know
did they actually?
The Winnipeg Jets are in round 2.
Dude, if I was 18, I would have lost so much money because I would have bet that they were not gonna make it.
And you know what? I'll be honest. Somehow, some freaking way, the Winnipeg Jets weaseled their way into the second round. And it's weird.
What can we expect at Winnipeg?
Well, it's the Winnipeg Jets, and when we did day 5, the special edition of this podcast where we were talking, I believe it was Battle that said, just end the season, and they didn't. They decided to continue on, and that was pretty weird. Number one, right, seeing them continue on into deep into an actual playoff run that they're actually doing some good stuff on.
I know, I am so lucky I am not allowed to gamble, or else I would have lost a hell of a lot of money.
I want to now switch over to the NHL's draft lottery and the bullshit that just happened.
There is some bullshit going on over there.
Yes, there is. And let's go over it, because how in the absolute shit did the New York Islanders get the rights to the number 1 pick overall?
You're lying.
The New York Islanders. The New York Islanders,
How?
who were ranked 11, end up with the first round pick.
How?
And it went here's the top 9 teams: San Jose, Chicago, Nashville, Philadelphia, Boston, Seattle, Buffalo, Anaheim, Pittsburgh. And the New York Islanders, oh yeah, they're ranked 11, or they were ranked 10. 10.
This makes
0 sense. The New York Rangers.
No, hold up. Does that list make sense to you of the top teams?
No, and here, let me tell you where Vegas is at. Vegas is at 15, which makes sense, right? I thought they'd be a little lower due to, their record, but they're sitting at 15, which isn't bad, right? And so let's, we'll try and go over this. So here are it was Vancouver. So here are.
I was gonna say, do you think the NHL's rigged currently? Because that list makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, so here, let me read you the top 16 picks in the draft. The top 16 picks in the 2025 NHL draft, taking place on June 27th through 28th at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. The first overall pick goes to the New York Islanders, second to the Sharks, third go to the Hawks, which actually I thought the Hawks would have been at, 2. I went to a Hawks game this year, and they were shit. Just being honest. They were shit. You know, and you know, obviously Utah at 4. You know, last time we talked, the Utah Mammoth are now a thing. Oh yeah, that's right. The Utah Hockey Club is now officially the Utah Mammoth, number 1. Sounds like an ECHL team. And number 2, they now have the 4th pick in the draft. Moving on, Nashville at 5, Philadelphia at 6, Boston at 7, Seattle at 8, Buffalo 9. At 10 is the Anaheim Ducks, which honestly they need. Pittsburgh at 11, New York Rangers at 12, Detroit at 13, Columbus at 14, Vancouver at 15, and Montreal at 16. Honestly, they missed the opportunity to put the Columbus Blue Jackets at 13 for Johnny Gaudreau. That's all I'm saying is, you know, Columbus should have been at 13 just because Johnny Gaudreau. And they got ranked at 14, which, you know.
I remember I used to be a Blue Jackets fan until the day that they got shut out by the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, and I converted him. But, you know, that's a story for nothing. Now, with
that was the first time I ever had a bet with this guy.
Now,
and that was the first time I ever lost.
Now, let's talk about who could potentially be picked at number 1. With the Islanders owning the top pick, they likely have the opportunity to select the OHL's defenseman Matthew Schaefer, who plays on the Erie Otters. He averages 1.29 points per contest this past season, which is the 3rd most points per game by an OHL defenseman. If Schaefer selected at number 1, he will be the first OHL player to have that honor since Edmonton picked McDavid in 2015. He will also be just the 5th defenseman to be selected at number 1 in this century, joining Owen Power from the Sabres, Rasmus Dahlin in 2018 to the Sabres, Ekblad to the Panthers in 2014, and Eric Johnson to the Blues in 2006. Now,
really?
Saginaw Spirit center Michael Misa will also will likely be selected with one of the top picks, ranked as a top forward by many scouting services after leading the Canadian Hockey League with 134-ish points. With 134 points. Sorry, guys, phone ringing.
Damn.
62 goals, 72 assists.
Holy shit.
Yes.
The kid's good.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
I'm surprised Vegas ain't trying to snatch him up.
Well, and you know, it really depends on what Vegas has.
True.
You know, it all depends on what Vegas has.
And Vegas is always looking to be better too, which I love about them. Vegas is always looking because I've always found that Vegas is always looking to be better than the best.
Yeah.
Or to be the best of the best.
Right, and that's just how it goes. And that's almost every team. Now, I know everybody's been wondering, and you know, NFL preseason coming up. NFL is looking pretty good. NHL is looking good. I really don't have much to really say on the NFL, other than, you know, Derek Carr retiring. But what I can say is I think my Packers are going to do good this year. Hopefully we don't become Toronto again.
Oh, really? That they do?
Hopefully we don't become Toronto again. Because I know that's happened in the past.
Please don't live that, bro.
Because the last year was fucking bullshit. Just saying. Last year was fucking bullshit.
That game hurt my soul, bro.
Not to mention, I want to bring this up because the Packers lost to the Bears in the last week of the season. What the fuck?
Sure. That That genuinely made me cry.
Yeah. I was definitely.
That dead ass made me cry.
I was definitely crying. Because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this game on the radio, and the Bears kicker makes the field goal. Like, I'm like, are we sure? Did he hit the post? Did he maybe hit the post and they thought it went in? Did it, maybe just, right by the post? But no, it went in.
That game physically hurt, bro. Like, I stayed up the whole night crying.
And you know what? Just because the Packers beat the Bears doesn't mean it counts, right? It was the last game of the season. The Bears have been knocked out of the playoff for weeks, and the Packers were going to the first round. It really didn't matter. And comments, please tell me your thoughts on the Packers, Bears, or even your NFL predictions this year. I want to see them. So go ahead in the chat right now. Drop your NFL predictions. For either your favorite team or a team that you think will do good. Honestly, I think the Packers are making the playoffs again this year. And I want them to be Super Bowl contenders. Not a team that gets laughed at and then eliminated in the first round like Toronto does almost every year. Except for the last 2 years, which is very surprising.
I think the Eagles are going to go again. And I think they're either going to go up against the Lions or the Packers.
I'll take you on the Eagles-Packers. Eagles-Packers.
I think that's a game that is bound to happen.
I mean, we saw Eagles-Packers in Brazil, and the Eagles won, and that was pretty sad. I was pretty sad about that. Eagles-Packers.
That game hurt.
That game hurt. In Brazil,
I was like,
and the Eagles.
How are they in Brazil?
But I mean, honestly, this year looking pretty excited. Right, I've already been seeing stuff on TikTok and on Facebook from teams and getting their rookies fitted, and the rookies are out practicing, and a lot of these guys they're looking good.
I'm excited for this season, bro. This season, this one's gonna be a good one. This is gonna be exciting.
I can't wait to see it. I really can't wait to see it.
It's gonna be something.
It really is. And it's going to be a season that I'm going to want to keep a close eye on for Green Bay Packers and try and follow up playoff-wise and, paint some playoff pictures.
Hey, keep me updated on what you find for the Packers, bro.
So I got to ask this because with the Stanley Cup Finals almost right around the corner, comments, drop your what you guys think, and Dylan and I will give ours too. Honestly, I've been saying this for a couple years. I want to see the Knights and the Canes. Knights and Canes.
Knights v. Canes?
Knights versus Canes in the Stanley Cup Final.
I think Vegas takes the Canes easy.
And this season seemed pretty matched between the Canes and the Knights. And you know what? Honestly, I'll even go look this up.
And I know Columbus is doing not too hot this season. I low-key kind of want to see a Vegas versus Columbus.
They're in the same division, dude. I believe they're in the same division. Or they're in the same conference. Go all the way back to March.
They are.
They are.
Are they really?
Yes, they are. By the way, the last time I'm looking at this, the Knights did shut out the Columbus Blue Jackets this year 4-0 on March 13th.
Hence why I am now a Vegas Golden Knights fan and no longer a Blue Jackets fan. Because I get disappointment like that every week.
Yes.
Every week we either get a shutout or we lose horribly.
Right. And I hope you learned your lesson. I hope you learned your lesson. Honestly, I don't want to see
in the fantasy league how I played for them and then got traded to the
we're not talking about that.
Crazy.
We're not talking about that.
I'm just saying, like, fantasy leagues go crazy.
Hurricanes versus Knights.
NHL draft's gonna affect people's fantasy leagues because this has been a wild one.
So, go January 18th. January 18th, or 1/17, 2025, the Vegas Golden Knights were defeated by the Carolina Hurricanes. I want to. Okay, so we'll see this. The Canes lost to the Knights. They beat the Knights twice. They lost to the Knights, and they lost the Knights again, and then they beat the Knights. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like bullshit.
It sounds like, the Knights are the Knights kind of screwed up a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Vegas Golden Knights. Let's see. They had the Knights lost. The Knights got swept in the season series. The Knights got swept by the Golden Knights. The Canes got swept, or the Canes swept the Knights in the season. Canes swept the Knights in the season this year. Beat them beat 3 games. Canes 3-1. Canes 5-2, and Canes 3-2. It's gonna be interesting to see if the Knights can beat the Canes. I definitely am going to want to continuously keep an eye on this and see, what happens between the Knights and the Canes, and whether or not the Knights and the Canes can actually, do something, and actually, do end up facing each other, because it's going to be pretty cool. And I can't wait to see if the Knights and the Canes, actually do face each other in the playoffs. Because if so, it's just going to be a game of all-out brawls, number one, and just a lot of, just hard-fought games that are, close. And, Vegas likes to keep close games with the Carolina Hurricanes. And here, I'll go back to this. January 17th? Yeah, so here, I'll go look right now at the season series between the Canes and the Knights. In 2 games, Carolina beat Vegas both times. 5-2 and 3-2. Honestly, this game's going to get even better, and I think, if I do end up seeing them, it's going to be pretty good. But anyways, another successful day, guys. What thoughts in the comments? I always look at the comments, so if you guys got any thoughts, comments, anything you guys want to share with us, go ahead, write them down below. If you want, leave a like, maybe subscribe, maybe, who knows. And thank you guys for joining us on day number 8. I know we were a little late. Last Wednesday, we weren't able to. And this Wednesday, we were able to get the pickle involved. So if you guys want to continue,
hopefully this ain't my last time here, y'all.
Yeah, leave it down below in the comments if you guys want to see more of the pickle. We're calling him the pickle because that's his nickname now. That's the podcast nickname for Dill. We have the pickle. So do me a favor, if you guys want to continue to see the pickle here, leave me a comment. Leave the pickle. Leave pickle in the comments below if you guys want to continue to see Dill. I think it'd be pretty funny to see how many pickle comments we could get on this video. Hey, little comment challenge. Little comment challenge. If you guys want to continue to see the pickle, leave a pickle in the comment. Let's see how many pickles I have to read before the next time we go live. As always, I am Gaz. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of the podcast of Gaz's Unsubscribed Sports Podcast, and I will see you guys next time.
Goodbye.